Salam alaikum. In this video we want to show you what paragliding in Morocco can look like. We spent 12 days in Morocco in the beginning of March exploring different flying sites, leading us from spots around Marrakesh to the coast and all the way through the Atlas Mountains. But first, let me introduce the crew. Marcus, Sarah, myself, David and Philip. Our first flying spot in Morocco was Aguergour, which is around 50 kilometers and approximately 1 hour drive south of Marrakesh. It is one of the most popular paragliding sites in Morocco, and for a reason. There are 2 paragliding accommodations at the landing field, Chiamet and Aylal Guest house. We stayed at Chiamet and paid 250 dirham, which is roughly 25 euros per person per night, including breakfast and dinner, which was really delicious. To get to the takeoff, you can either take your car or the shuttle for 50 dirham. From the parking area or the shuttle drop-off location, you have to hike the last few meters to a very easy takeoff location. The takeoff fee for a day is 20 dirham, and you can also get coffee, drinks and some snacks at the takeoff location. The launch area faces northwest and is located in 1,350 meters above sea level. The takeoff area is made of concrete and very well maintained. So it's a great place to train top landing, although it can get quite crowded sometimes. In March, when we were there, thermals started at around 1 or 2 p.m. and you could gain some height near the takeoff and maybe fly to Magic Mountain nearby. However, beware of the power lines. There are plenty of those, so scratching when you are low might not be the best idea. Oh, and beware of the bushes, they are really spiky. In the evening, the wind usually picks up. We had around 20 kilometers per hour at the takeoff, and you can soar until sunset and enjoy the view. We spent 2 awesome flying days in Aguergour before we headed down south to the coast. From Aguergour, we drove around 5 hours, 350 kilometers to get to the coast. Our third spot, Aglou Beach. Right next to the sea, you can soar a steep cliffline with many top landing possibilities. Landing at the beach is possible most of the time, however there is not a lot of space between the cliff and the sea, so better to top land. We were lucky and had perfect soaring conditions with a wind speed of 20 km per hour. Aglou Beach is also a great place for ground handling or for fooling around. To explore the different paragliding spots at the coast, we stayed in Merleft, which is a chilled out surfer town. March is still off season in Morocco, so it was fairly easy to find cheap and chilled out accommodations anywhere. Our next spot at the coast was beautiful Lechzira. There is a magical takeoff on a hill at 350 meters above sea level, to which you can get by car or hitch a ride. The takeoff faces west towards the sea. It has some rocks, but is still quite easy to launch. With some wind, you can soar in front of the launch area. However, with a few pilots around, it can get quite crowded. You can also catch some thermals to get to the hills nearby.
Ja, genau. Rechts auf, links auf. Kilo, baby. Jawohl. Geht so.
The highlight of this flying spot is definitely flying next to the arch at Lechzira beach. If you're lucky, you can even soar next to the arch and maybe topland on it. Or you can spend some quality time at the beach, getting your glider out of some bushes. Infinite possibilities.
Woohoo! Hallo!
The four of us decided to take a dip in the Atlantic Ocean and to hike back up to the takeoff for a sundown flight. There is a path, if you want to call it that, through cacti and bushes straight up to the takeoff. Great opportunity to enjoy the local flora and fauna. leading us to the most famous flying spot at the coast, Nid Deagle. Nid Deagle is a concrete launch area located next to a very nice paragliding accommodation with infinity pool. If you only want to fly there, you pay 20 dirham takeoff fee. We decided to also stay one night in a guest house to enjoy the food and wine and have a dip in a pool. Compared to other places, this one is quite expensive for 600 dirham per person per night, including dinner, breakfast, as well as the takeoff fee. From Nid Deagle takeoff, you can attempt to fly all the way to Aglou mountain. David managed to fly there and topland on our first flying day there and was celebrated for this achievement by the local paragliders. Marcus flew to Aglou mountain on the second day and even managed to get all the way back to Nid Deagle. Foot drag attempts in the pool were made, however none of them successful. And beware, if your glider lands in the pool, you have to pay drinks for everyone at the takeoff. Nid Deagle is a great place for top landing. However, if you bomb out, there is a nice landing area right next to the road going up to the takeoff, and you can easily hike back up or hitch a ride. From Nid Deagle we headed back up north for 5 hours and 260 kilometers to Tizintest, located at 2,100 meters above sea level. We stayed 2 nights at the Café La Belle Vue, which is located right next to the launch area. The accommodation is quite simple, but the food was great and the view was just stunning. We paid the usual 250 dirham per person per night, including breakfast and dinner. David and Marcus did one evening flight on the first day, exploring the mountains nearby and top landing right next to the guest house on the street.
Yeah!
On the second day, they both headed out for some XC action. Starting at 10 AM, the first thermals were showing up. They launched at 11:30 AM and were catapulted right away up to 3,000 meters. Flying was great with a cloud base at around 4,500 in the afternoon. However, watch out for the north wind, which sometimes takes over in the afternoon. Marcus was surprised by this and got washed down quite violently. However, he managed to land close to the road of Tizintest, and fortunately hitchhiking works quite well in Morocco. These mountains definitely offer great possibilities for cross-country paragliding. David flew over 60 kilometers and Marcus 117. Bombing out might be quite difficult in some valleys, but there are a lot of remote villages in most of them. Philip and Sarah decided to stay on the ground as the thermals were quite strong and the landing opportunities were quite sparse. However, we spotted one landing opportunity next to the street going up the mountain, which we linked in the description. Anyways, the Atlas Mountains are not only great for flying but also great for hiking, so crossing the Atlas Massif via the Tizintest mountain pass is always a great experience. whether you decide to fly or stay on the ground. Coming to our last flying spot in Morocco, Aguergour. Aguergour is located 40 minutes drive southeast of Marrakesh. With an 8-kilometer long soaring ridge and a stunning view to Marrakesh as well as to the Aglou mountains, this relatively unknown site was definitely one of our favorite spots. We contacted the paragliding club situated at the base of the ridge and were warmly welcomed by the family owning the club and the guest house. We spent 2 nights in the newly renovated rooms and enjoyed the most amazing home-cooked food together with other pilots staying in the guest house. The conditions usually get perfect towards the evening, so we hiked up to the takeoff in the late afternoon. The ridge faces northwest, however the takeoff faces rather north. We launched in 15 to 20 km per hour strong wind and soared for over an hour until sunset. The view over the snow-capped mountains, the castle ruins below, and the big city of Marrakesh in the distance is simply breathtaking. A worthy last flying spot in Morocco. Just 2 things to be aware of. The airspace of Marrakesh starting at the northern edge of the ridge, and yet again the spiky bushes at the landing area in front of the clubhouse. We hope we could give you an overview over some of the most popular flying sites in Morocco. We found getting around very safe and easy, people are friendly and the food is amazing. If you are planning your next paragliding trip, definitely consider going to Morocco.